Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Athens residents may no longer have to worry about moving their parked cars every day. Good evening, I'm Carter Eckel. Thanks for joining us. Tonight at City Council, a 24-hour parking pass proposal will be presented. This new parking plan would mean residents could keep their cars on the streets for over 24 hours as long as they receive a pass from the city. Right now, the city marks tires with chalk and tickets residents if their car is not moved. City Council President Christine Nisley says each Athens neighborhood will have the option to vote on the program.
I think it's a good idea to be considering it for some of the close-in neighborhoods where there's a lot of, it seems to be overcrowding with parking on the streets.
Athens has considered a new parking permit system in the past, but it has never moved forward in a formal format. The City Council meeting tonight is the first proposal of the new parking plan. Athens tourism sales could see a huge boost next season. The City Council is addressing an old bed and breakfast ordinance. According to the Athens Messenger, it would allow residents to operate B&Bs within owner-occupied homes in the neighborhood. The city would start collecting transient guest taxes from bed and breakfast establishments. The city's current zoning code only allows B&Bs to operate on certain streets. The ordinance will read for the third and final time and be voted on next Monday. Athens County Public Libraries are moving toward maximum energy efficiency. The libraries were given a gift of over $85,000 from AEP Ohio and Columbia Gas. According to the Messenger, the libraries have used the money to replace old furnaces and purchase energy-saving refrigerators. Future projects include updating lighting in multiple projects in both Nelsonville and Athens. A noisemaker has been installed on the roof of the Athens County Courthouse. According to City Commissioner Charlie Adkins, there has been a pigeon problem as of late. The birds have been sitting on the edge of the courthouse roof and depositing their droppings on the courthouse steps. The noisemaker sounds like birds, which has some Athens residents confused.
It sounded like a tropical bird, but I thought I was just either crazy or it was a, typical Athens prank.
The noisemaker goes off every 4 minutes, and Atkins says it has moved the pigeons higher on the building.
Well, it started off as a chilly morning and it did warm up a bit, but overall temperatures are feeling very seasonable out there. Good evening and welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Allison Gens. Right now in Athens, it's 66 degrees. We do have partly cloudy skies out there and winds are northeast at 5 miles per hour. And around the region, temperatures are in the low to mid 60s, 63 in New Lexington and Cambridge, 65 in New Martinsville, 67 in Ironton, and 64 in Chillicothe. And overnight tonight, you can see those temperatures are going to drop pretty low again. We have 46 at midnight, then by 3 a.m., 42, and then 8 a.m., 38 degrees, but we don't have any precipitation. Skies are going to stay mostly clear and calm, but it will be chilly, so overnight tonight, make sure you have that jacket. It will be a cooler night to go out.
Thanks a lot, Allison. A daily newspaper is breaking a century-long tradition of backing Republicans for the White House. The Columbus Dispatch is endorsing Hillary Clinton for president, calling Donald Trump unfit to be president of the United States. The paper's editorial board says Clinton, despite her flaws, is well equipped for the job. The last time the Dispatch endorsed a Democrat, was in 1916 when it supported Woodrow Wilson. Hillary Clinton is campaigning in Ohio's capital on the eve of state's voter registration deadline. The Democratic presidential nominee is holding an event this evening at Ohio State University in Columbus. According to her campaign, Clinton will urge Ohioans to register and vote early. She's also expected to discuss her plans for the economy. Tomorrow is Ohio's voter registration deadline for the election on November 8th. Early voting begins Wednesday. An Ohio senator is one of several Republicans revoking his support for Donald Trump. Rob Portman announced Saturday that he will continue to respect those who endorse Trump, but that he himself cannot do so. Portman says that he will vote for Trump's running mate Mike Pence. The senator originally backed Governor John Kasich, but endorsed Trump once he received the party's nomination. Portman's seat is also currently up for re-election in Ohio. And another Republican speaking out against GOP nominee Donald Trump. West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito's statement comes after Donald Trump's recent comments about women. She wrote in a statement Saturday that as a woman, mother, and grandmother, she is deeply offended by Trump's remarks. According to Capito, the appropriate next step may be for Trump to re-examine his candidacy. Ohio voters will be asked to consider 150 tax issues for schools when they cast their ballots this fall. The state's election chief and Ohio School Boards Association say 74 of the requests this fall are for new money for schools. The rest seek to renew or continue existing taxes. Last year, 30 levies sought new money for schools, and voters approved just over half of them. Rob Portman isn't the only politician backing away from Trump. We'll tell you about another major Republican leader who is distancing his support. And a new poll reveals Hillary Clinton is leading Donald Trump by double digits. More on how Trump's scandal is affecting his chances for the presidency when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Gloves were off for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton Sunday night at Washington University in St. Louis. The presidential contenders participated in their second presidential debate, and it was every bit as combative as expected. Emily Schmidt is in St. Louis with more.
There was no handshake between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton Sunday night in St. Louis. That icy start set the tone for another contentious debate. Discussion turned quickly to recently released video of Trump making lewd and sexually aggressive comments about women.
Certainly I'm not proud of it, but that was something that happened.
I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is.
The candidates sparred on topics from foreign policy to personal temperament, and there were surprises, like the moment Trump knocked his own running mate on the issue of Syria.
He and I haven't spoken, and I disagree. I disagree.
You disagree with your running mate?
I think we have to knock out ISIS.
Mike Pence, who confirmed that he is not dropping the ticket, blamed the moderator.
Frankly, I've got a lot of respect for Martha Raddatz, but she just misrepresented the statement that I made.
Clinton said the debate went as anticipated.
I pretty much saw what I expected to see, that he's not fit to be president and commander-in-chief.
The town hall format allowed voters to pose questions.
Would either of you name one positive thing that you respect in one another?
Clinton said she respected Trump's kids. Trump said he respected that Clinton was a fighter. And finally, they shook hands.
There were expectations that because of the recent uproar over Trump's Access Hollywood outtakes, this debate would have higher ratings than the first. That didn't prove to be the case. Sunday's face-off in St. Louis had about 20% fewer voters, but the audience was still pretty big. According to early Nielsen data, at least 60 million people tuned in. And according to a CNN instant poll, Hillary Clinton won Sunday night's second presidential debate against Donald Trump 57% to 34%. The results also tracked watchers' pre-debate preference. 58% of debate watchers said they were supporting Clinton before the debate. In a four-way contest, Hillary Clinton now leads Donald Trump by double digits. A new national NBC Wall Street Journal poll released today has the Democrat leading her Republican opponent 46% to 35%. That's an 11-point lead among likely voters. In a two-way race, Clinton's lead widens to 14 points, taking 52% over Trump's 38%. The poll was taken before Sunday's debate, but after a 2005 videotape of Trump making lewd and aggressive comments about women became public. As for the third-party candidates, Libertarian Gary Johnson polled at 9%, while Green Party candidate Jill Stein received 2%. One audience member became an instant celebrity after last night's presidential debate. Ken Bone caught everyone's eye with his power outfit that included a red cardigan. Bone also is getting kudos for his cool composure during an otherwise bitter debate as he asked a question about energy policy. Multiple parody Twitter accounts popped up in Ken Bone's name after the fact, and someone even created a Facebook page on his behalf.
I went from last night having 7 Twitter followers, 2 of which were my grandmother because she had to remake her account when she forgot her password, to now I have several hundred. I don't know why they care what I have to say, but I'm glad they're engaged in the political process.
Bone was one of the undecided voters who attended the debate. He said he actually walked away feeling more undecided than ever. House Speaker Paul Ryan told fellow Republicans today he will no longer defend Donald Trump. Ryan's spokesman said in a statement that Ryan plans to use the next 29 days to focus on preserving his party's hold on Congress. In a conference call, a spokesperson said Ryan will work to make sure Hillary Clinton doesn't get a blank check with a democratically controlled Congress, an implied acknowledgement that Trump may no longer appear to be able to capture the White House. The spokesman also said Ryan has not changed his mind about endorsing Trump for president at this time. Ryan originally endorsed Trump in June, but he uninvited Trump to a Wisconsin rally Saturday after the tape of Trump's sexually aggressive comments about women were made public. On Wall Street today, stocks are ending higher after prominent gains in the energy sector led to the highest levels seen in more than a year. Here's a look at stocks of local interest. Hurricane Matthew could have a silver lining. We'll tell you how Matthew is halting the spread of the Zika virus. That story's still ahead.
We've had seasonable fall temperatures, but is another warm-up on the way? I'll let you know my extended forecast next on Newswatch.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us. Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, this is it. And she said, the tour's just started. I said, no, you don't understand. This is it.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Allison Gens. Right now in Athens, it's 66 degrees. We do have partly cloudy skies out there, and our winds are northeast at 5 miles per hour. And looking around our region, temperatures are in the low to mid 60s, 63 New Lexington, 66 in Athens, 65 in Jackson, 67 in Ironton, and our almanac day shows that we were right on target for our normal temperature. 66 was our high today. We're normally about 68, but we were a little bit chillier than we should have for this time of year. 35 was our low hit this morning. Now our precipcast for tonight showing we have high pressure over the region. That's going to keep conditions dry. It's also going to keep temperatures a little bit cooler overnight as well again. And as we look into tomorrow, our high pressure continues to keep its dominance over our area, so not much to worry about for the next few days. We will, though, look to see as some chances of precip move their way in as we head into midweek. Now, overnight tonight, temperatures dropping into the upper 30s and low 40s. We have 40 in Newark, 37 in New Lexington, 37 in Athens, 40 in Jackson, and 41 in Ironton. We'll see mostly clear skies throughout the night. Now tomorrow, warming up into the low 70s, 70 in New Lexington, 71 in Marietta, 73 in Ripley, and 74 in Ironton, with mostly sunny skies throughout the day. Now overnight tonight, our temperature dropping to 37 for our low in Athens, mostly clear, but it is cooler than average, so if you are heading out tonight, make sure you bring on a jacket. And that's going to also be the same thing as we head up to your bus stop or your morning commute tomorrow. 38 degrees around 7 a.m. And we will have mostly sunny skies, but make sure that you grab the jacket, that your kids grab their jacket as they head out the door, because it is going to be a chilly morning and you don't want to leave the house without it. But by the afternoon hours, it's going to warm up to 71 degrees. So by the afternoon, you won't be needing that jacket anymore, with mostly sunny skies, and it is going to be a pleasant day with calm winds. So starts out chilly in the morning, but it's going to turn into a nicer day by the afternoon. And as you look at your extended forecast, you can see some of those nicer days are still in effect by Wednesday. 76 degrees as your high, but temperatures dropping for Thursday with 64. Slight chance of rain for in our morning hours. Then Friday, 68 degrees, but warming back up for your weekend with 73. And then Sunday, 78 degrees, nearing 80 degrees. So it's going to be a nice warm Sunday, and then 75 for Monday. So it's going to be a little bit above seasonable temperatures, but it is going to keep those nice dry conditions around, except for that little chance on Thursday. Now I'm going to send it back over to Carter.
Thanks a lot, Allison. The storm that was Hurricane Matthew is gone, but the effects of the storm are still being felt today. Today, the U.S. storm-related death toll rose to at least 20, and that's as more flooding is expected in parts of the South over the next several days. Steve Nanes has this report.
This is an extremely dangerous situation.
Flooding from the rivers has been unfortunate, and what we are seeing is just a lot of damage.
Officials warning the effects of what was Hurricane Matthew are not over yet. Thousands are currently stranded in the town of Lumberton, North Carolina, after floodwaters rose rapidly overnight.
Most of the water is about knee deep, but we do have people on the roofs as we speak, and we have a lot of helicopters and boats that have been deployed that are at this point in time rescuing them. At
least 20 people have been killed by the storm in the U.S. Others are still missing. The latest fatality occurring after a person drove onto a flooded road in North Carolina and was swept away.
I cannot stress more. If you see a road that's flooded, do not take your car through that road. If you see a barrier, do not go around that barrier. This is a life and death decision.
And officials warning that more flooding is on the way.
The people who live near rivers, streams, and levees need to be extremely careful as flooding is expected throughout the coming week.
What is not flooded today could be flooded tomorrow.
And as local officials continue their cleanup and rescue efforts, the White House releasing a statement Monday saying President Obama has directed all necessary federal resources be directed to help the affected states. In Washington, I'm Steve Nannis.
Even though Matthew is no longer classified as a hurricane, it is still considered a post-tropical cyclone that still could cause more damage to the East Coast in the Carolinas and Virginia over the next 24 hours. Hurricane Matthew could put a temporary halt on the mosquitoes that spread the Zika virus. Initially, after a big storm, there can be a decrease in all mosquitoes. That's because adult mosquitoes, including those that carry the Zika virus, get washed away with heavy rain. Plus, heavy rains and flooding also wash away larvae away from mosquito breeding sites such as tires, bird baths, and flower pots. That can have a beneficial effect on Zika transmission, but when mosquitoes return, individuals can become the target of a hungry mosquito, and that transmission cycle could start again. More good news, this time of year is when mosquitoes populations typically start to go down. To date, there have been 141 locally transmitted cases of Zika reported in Florida since the end of July. Now over to sports with Megan.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Megan Vanslow. Coming up in sports, Game 3 of the AL Division Series between the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox is being made up as we speak. And the Ohio Bobcats are leading the nation in total sacks after their win over Bowling Green, where they totaled 4 sacks for a loss of 37 yards. That's next on Newswatch. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities. And of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back. I'm Megan Vanslow. After getting rained out yesterday, the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox have no score in the bottom of the second inning. Cleveland is leading the series 2-0 and look to sweep Boston and advance to the league championship series. Josh Tomlin started against Boston's Clay Buchholz. The winner of the series will face Toronto in the league championships as they bested the Rangers in a 3-game sweep that concluded last night. Toronto squeezed out the series victory in 10 innings on the national side. The Nationals lead the Dodgers in the 6th inning 4-3, and the Giants will face the Cubs tonight. And Ohio football currently leads the nation in total sacks with 25 for 181 yards lost on the season. The Bobcats recorded 4 in their 30-24 victory over Bowling Green Saturday. This was Ohio's first win over Bowling Green since 2011. Ohio safety Javon Hagan has been named the Mid-American Conference East Defensive Player of the Week. He led the Bobcats with 9 tackles against the Falcons, along with an interception and forced fumble. The Bobcats are now 2-0 in MAC play and will face Eastern Michigan at home this Saturday. Leading the MAC is Western Michigan, who came in at 24 of this week's Associated Press college football poll. The Big Ten has 4 teams in the top 10 for the first time since 1960. Alabama remains number 1 after receiving 56 first-place votes, and Ohio State stayed at number 2 and received 2 first-place votes. The Buckeyes stayed at the top of the poll thanks to the 38-17 victory over Indiana last Saturday. Ohio State was forced to rely mostly on its ground game, which totaled 290 yards. The Buckeye defense had a critical fourth-quarter stop on its own 4-yard line following a J.T. Barrett interception that helped fend off the Hoosiers, who had upset Michigan State last week. And the Browns were looking for an upset yesterday in Cleveland against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. However, they remain winless on the season. Rookie quarterback Cody Kessler was injured after getting drilled on a pass play in the first half of the 33-13 loss. He was replaced by Charlie Whitehurst, who injured his left knee in the final minutes. The Patriots quarterback worries are long gone after Tom Brady returned relatively rust-free after serving his 4-game Deflategate suspension. He passed for 406 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Cincinnati Bengals also struggled this weekend in their 28-14 loss. Ezekiel Elliott ran for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Dallas Cowboys, and fellow rookie Dak Prescott threw for a score and ran for another touchdown. Prescott had his first turnover in 5 games when he fumbled on a sack late in the 3rd quarter. The Bengals trailed 28-0 before Dalton threw a 7-yard touchdown pass to Brandon LaFell. With about 10 minutes left, that duo hooked up again for a 5-yard score with 2:39 left. Dalton finished 29 of 41 for 269 yards. Tonight, the Carolina Panthers will host Tampa Bay for Monday night's matchup. The game will be played as scheduled tonight in North Carolina, but the league did express a few worries about possible conditions from Hurricane Matthew. Several college games, though, suffered from the storm as LSU and Florida postponed their game until further notice, and South Carolina and Georgia moved their game from Saturday to Sunday. Some teams that played through the weather, though, really struggled to get anything going. Notre Dame and NC State, played on a slip and slide of a field, only totaling 13 points between both teams. I'm Megan Vanslow, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Allison.
Thanks, Megan. Tonight, overnight, it's 37 degrees for our low temperature with mostly clear skies, and it is cooler than average, so make sure you bring your jacket as you head out tonight and into tomorrow morning. But tomorrow, warming up to 71 degrees. It's going to be a pleasant day with calm winds and a mix of sun and clouds throughout the day, and your extended forecast shows that temperatures are going to warm up for Wednesday, drop again for the end of the week, but then warm back up for your weekend. We can see mostly clear or mostly partly cloudy skies. Do have a slight chance of rain, though, for your Thursday morning, but other than that, it's looking seasonable, a little bit warmer than normal for your week. Send it back to Carter.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Carter Eckel. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.